Good evening, everyone. Appreciate everyone joining us for the Board of Public Works, July 7th, 2021. We'll pass it over to Dana and let her do her thing.
Awesome, thank you. Alrighty, I will go ahead and call to order. Wait, let's just real quick. Do I see Kyla? Don't see Kyla on here.
She's not coming.
Kyla was not going to be able to make it. She had a work thing and was traveling.
That's right. Got it. Thank you. Okay, then I will call to order this regular meeting of the Board of Public Works on July 7th, 2021. First up, we have messages from the board. Beth, do you have any messages tonight?
Yeah, I just want to thank the sanitation crews for going out so early. It was, I think, even before it got light this morning, they were out working, and that's good. Keep hydrated, stay safe, and thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Okay, next up is petitions and remonstrances. This is an opportunity for anyone and members of the public to speak on anything that's not on the agenda. Is there any public comment on anything not on the agenda tonight? And you could use the raise hand function. You could put it in the chat.
I see nothing in the chat.
Okay, me either. I don't see any raised hands. Okay, next up is consent agenda. So on the consent agenda, we have the approval of minutes from the June 22nd, 2021 meeting. Resolution 2021-25, renewal of mobile vendor in the public right-of-way for Cone Ice Truck 2. Resolution 2021-26, the use of the public right-of-way for Hoosier Half Marathon. Resolution 2021-27, the use of the public right-of-way for the 4th Street Arts Festival. Resolution 2021-29, use of the public right-of-way for the Banneker Center Block Party. Number 6, noise permit for the Festival of God's Creation by First United Methodist Church of Bloomington. Noise permit for the Elixir of Love acoustic opera performance by Bloomington Chamber Opera. The outdoor lighting service agreement with Duke Energy for the downtown alleys. Outdoor lighting service agreement with Duke Energy for West 6th Street between North Fairview and North Elm and the intersection of West 4th and West Elm Street. And then approval of payroll. Anything that needs to be removed from the consent agenda? Any public comment on the consent agenda tonight?
Yeah.
Nothing in the chat.
Dana?
Yes, Beth.
Since we didn't have a work session, do we have to go through each one of those, or are we still just going to pass it as a consent agenda tonight?
We won't need to unless you have a question on something or would like to remove it and move it to new business.
Okay. I just had some notes here.
If you had something on one of the items, we could make a motion to remove it from the consent agenda and move it to new business if you'd like.
No, I don't think that there's anything urgent that I had. Just had a couple of questions about notifying the public on different, like the 44th annual 4th Street Art Fair. Just wonder when they're going to be notified, but that's okay. I think they take care of that. They have for 44 years, 43 years. So I think they probably know what they're doing. So.
Okay.
I don't have a question. Thank you.
All righty. Do we have a motion on the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
And I'm trying to think of how we should do this tonight since there's just two of us, but do I still need to do a roll call vote? I guess.
Yes, you need to second it
Yes.
first and then, yeah.
Okay, all right. So I'll second and I'll do a call for a vote. Beth Hollingsworth,
Yes.
Dana Palazzo, yes. Consent agenda passes. All righty, next up is new business. So first is the request for permanent easement and right-of-way for the sanitary sewer line with CBU.
This is Jackie Moore from City Legal, and I will be presenting this for you. CBU owns and operates a sanitary sewer line located just west of South Walnut Street. This line runs just west of the entrance to Switchyard Park from South Walnut and continues south behind what was once the property where Wee Willie's was located. The property, although developed and operated by Parks, is owned by the city of Bloomington and therefore controlled by the Board of Public Works. This easement will be permanent and will run with the land to any successive owners to the property. This easement will prohibit any permanent construction within the easement with the exception of paving, parking, and landscaping. And CBU will repair the real estate back to its pre-construction conditions anytime they need to get onto that property to do any upgrade, maintenance, or renovations to that sanitary sewer system.
Thank you. Any questions tonight, Beth, on this item?
Yeah, Jackie, I'm not sure I quite understand. Does the city own this property, or who called for the easement of that line? Who's asking for that easement?
Yes, it is owned by the city. It's Parks property, and that's, you know, where the Switchyard Park goes, but it is City of Bloomington property, and that's what makes it your responsibility to pass.
Okay, so then you say that no matter who then would own it, that goes with it, but would that property ever be for sale, or is that just part of the parks?
You know, this is city property. If the city were to ever sell this property, the
Okay.
easement would go with this
Okay.
property if it were ever sold.
Okay, that's, thank you. Thank you.
Any public comment or questions on this item?
I see nothing in the chat or hands raised.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I move that we approve the request for permanent easement and right-of-way for sanitary sewer line with CBU.
And I second. I'll call for a vote. Beth Hollingsworth,
Yes.
Dana Plaza, yes. Motion passes. And there's a helicopter landing right over us, so I'm sorry if it's loud.
Wow.
New business. Next up is lane closure requests on South Sarah Road, South High Street, South Leonard Springs Road, and North Kinzer Pike from Lineal Contracting, and the dates of the closures are to be determined, and we should hear them tonight.
Yeah, hi, Mike Stewart here with Engineering Department. This is really, there is only one closure part of all of these projects that's going to have a very high impact. That is on the Sarah Road. We're anticipating that that's going to last approximately 11 days. This is Lineal Contracting doing fiber installation for AT&T. And that's going to be the one that will have the highest impact. But since we were already coming to this session, we also wanted to kind of bring forth to the board that they will also be on North Kinzer Pike doing aerial work. And part of that project as well is going to be going down West Rosewood Drive, which was recently paved. So also just kind of acknowledging that if they do any potholes or anything like that to spot for water mains when they cross the road, they're going to have to mill and pave. Even if it's a 6-inch by 6-inch, they're going to have to mill and pave 20 feet in all directions to get that road back to, you know, its initial glory. They're also going to be on South High Street and East Hillside. Those are going to be a day or two and shouldn't be anything that's very high impact. The majority of the time that they are going to be working in these neighborhoods, they are going to be parked on just local roads, and a lot of the work is going to be in utility easements and not actually in our right of way. One other one that I did want to mention, they're going to be doing aerial work on South Leonard Springs. We recently had the Duke permit where they're going to be replacing those utility poles. Lineal will be coordinating with Duke and will be working ahead of Duke and then working after Duke replaces those poles to replace the fiber as well. So I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover. I don't know if there are any questions for me, and we also have Brian Busick here from Lineal Contracting who should be able to answer any questions as well.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
Yes. Are the fiber optic lanes new, or are they just being replaced? Is it something that's been there before and just replacing, or are these all new fiber optic lanes?
A lot of it is new for the new AT&T fiber to the home. So what they're doing, they're running fiber
Okay.
optic to each individual home. So most of it's going to be new.
I was just interested in what does aerial work mean?
That's the ones on top of the telephone poles.
Okay.
So did AT&T bid for these lanes, or can other, like Smithville, can they also put fiber optic lanes in the same areas? It's going to be more than just AT&T in there?
That would be depending on the right of way easement. They should have access to it if they want to do something through there.
Yes, okay, thank you. And then I saw that you have door hangers. You're going to put door hangers around to let people know that you're when you're going to be in the area and how long you'll be there. And
Yes, and we also have yard signs too that we can put up.
okay, and you will be doing that, so just everyone is notified
Yes.
that you'll be there. And when do you plan to start this? When are the starting dates?
As soon as we can get the permits okayed, then they'll be starting. I can't give any exact date because it, depends on the permit and then just the AT&T scheduling which ones they want us to do first.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and from the engineering side, we're requesting advance notice, especially for those more major closures,
Yes.
and just when they're moving into a new neighborhood.
Yeah.
And one other thing, Brian, could you state your name and company for the?
Oh, I'm sorry. Brian Busick, superintendent at Lineal Contracting.
Thank you. So it looks like, just looking through some of the permit applications, like once you get to one of these neighborhoods, it takes about, looks like 40 or 50 some days per spot, per location, I guess.
Yes,
Okay.
depending on the size of the job. Some of them will be quicker.
Okay.
Yeah, and we currently already have issued some permits for them on the map that I provided. The Jennifer Drive area down just north of Winslow, they're already there. We issued that last week, but there were no major closures associated with it. So.
And there's maintenance of traffic plans in place for all of these locations.
Yeah, and again, on those major roads, anything that's arterial or collector, it's really going to need flaggers in most of the locations. If it's neighborhood streets, they'll basically be taking up on-street parking, which won't require flaggers. So,
Great. Any other questions from the board?
No.
Any public comment on this item?
I see no hands raised or chat.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I move that we approve lane closure requests on South Sarah Road, South High Street, South Leonard Springs Road, and North Kinzer Pike from Lineal Contracting, dates to be announced.
And I second. Call for a vote. Beth Hollingsworth,
Yes.
Dana Plazo, yes. Motion passes. Thank you. Next up, we have the street closure request on North Woodlawn Avenue from East 9th to East 10th from Reed and Sons Construction.
Good evening, this is Paul Kerberg from engineering. Reed and Sons Construction is installing the utilities for the IU Collins Center renovations. To complete the work, they're planning a full closure on North Woodlawn from 9th to 10th Streets. We've been coordinating this closely with our city project on 7th Street. And then the closure will be from July 19th to July 30th, 2021. And like I said, we coordinate it closely and have the detour to work around the 7th Street project. And the sidewalks will need to be closed, but they will alternate to keep one side of the street open at all times for the sidewalk. Are there any questions?
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
Okay, be quiet. I just want to know, Paul, is this a renovation of the entire Collins area? I know you've got it's called a new campus quad, so I didn't know if that is going to be a really long project or we have it done by fall.
The new campus quad is a separate project from this.
It is? Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so this is just that with the yeah. with
Yeah,
this.
yeah. Reed and Sons is doing both of the projects, but they're separate things.
Yeah, it was mixed in with that, so that's why I wondered about it.
Okay. Yeah.
Calling it.
Yeah, it looks like this is just a 12-day closure.
Oh, yeah, from 7/19 to 7/30. Okay. So everyone has been notified, utilities, law enforcement, transit, everyone knows that this is happening.
Yes, yeah, we've been working closely with them.
Okay.
I think is Matthew Rollins. I think he's on this call. If there's questions for him.
This is Matthew with Reed and Sons Construction. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I've been coordinating with Paul, and we'll notify any emergency services that need to be notified.
Okay. Okay.
And the best to answer your question, the Collins Center renovations is all three buildings, Edmondson, Smith, and I forget what the name of the third building is, but yes, Messer Construction got the contract with IU to do the renovations for all three of these buildings. The new campus quad is a new project for IU, and it's going to be basically a demolition of an existing parking lot and turning it into a green space,
Oh, all
just
right.
sidewalks and plants and flowers.
Okay. Sounds nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Any public comment on this item?
I see nothing in the chat and no hands raised currently.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I move approval of street closure request on North Woodlawn Avenue from East 9th Street to East 10th Street from Reed and Sons Construction, July 19th to July 31st, 2021.
And I second, call for a vote. Beth Hollingsworth,
Yes.
Dana Plaza, yes, motion passes. Next up is the sidewalk closure requests along East 11th Street, East Cottage Grove Ave, and North Forest Ave from Reed and Sons Construction, Inc.
This is Paul Kerberg from engineering again. This is the campus quad project. Reed and Sons is doing this. This is to create new green space for Indiana University in what is now a parking lot. The new garage on 11th Street will open up very soon. And then once that opens up, then they won't need this parking lot anymore. This project will install all new sidewalk along the perimeter that is in city right of way. And it will also replace the curb along the edge of it. They're requesting the sidewalk closures from July 8th to November 12th, 2021. And the sidewalks are on the south side of East 11th from Forest Avenue to Walnut Grove. And then it will be the sidewalk on the east side of Forest Avenue from Cottage Grove to 11th Street. And it will also be the sidewalk on the north side of Cottage Grove from North Forest Ave to Walnut Grove. They will also have 2 short-term lane closures during this project while they do the curb replacements. And they'll be in the parking lane on Cottage Grove and then the northbound lane of Forest Avenue. And they do have an accessible pedestrian route to get around the site. Are there any questions on this project?
Thank you. Any questions?
What are the dates again, Paul? July 8th to November what?
November 12th of
12th.
this year.
And are we're not doing the lane closures right now? Are we including the whole project in this request?
This is mostly just a sidewalk since they'll be there so long. The lane closures will be short term, but
Then you'll let us know then about the lane closures.
yes, and actually the lane closures we could approve at staff level if needed. But
Oh, okay. All right.
yeah.
Paul, in the areas where the sidewalks will be closed on one side of the street, are there sidewalks on the other side of those streets that pedestrians will be navigated to?
For the most part, that's why they will have a posted accessible route to get around the site from the northwest corner down to the southeast corner. I think there's one section of sidewalk missing on Cottage Grove, so they have to come down to 10th Street, I think.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
No.
Any public comment?
I see no chat and no hands raised currently.
Alrighty, do we have a motion?
I move approval of sidewalk closure request along East 11th Street, East Cottage Grove Avenue, and North Forest Avenue from Reed and Sons Construction, July 8th through November 12th.
I second. Call for a vote. Beth Hollingsworth,
Yes.
Dana Plaza, yes. Motion passes. Next is right-of-way use for the dumpster placement in the east-west alley west of North College Avenue between Kirkwood Avenue and West 6th from Steve's Roofing and Sheet Metal.
This is Paul Kerber from engineering again. Steve's roofing and sheet metal will be replacing the roof on 109 North College Avenue, which is where JL Waters is. They plan to place the dumpster in the alley just to the north of their building. And this will be the safest for them while they remove the old roofing. And so they're requesting to close that alley, and they'll have signage in place on either end. And they're, from the board, they're requesting from July 16th to August 6th for the closure. And they have notified area residents and businesses about the work. And they're also coordinating with parking enforcement staff because there's some meter reservations and they have to remove the meter for this work also. They've been closely coordinating with them.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
Yeah, I know the safety measure is for getting the old roofing off, but what about the people, the pedestrians on the sidewalk? Will there be a detour around the sidewalk while they're working just to be sure that all the material doesn't fly off the roof and hit pedestrians, or how are you going to handle that?
That sidewalk is planning to stay open. There should be a representative from Steve Roofing's on there.
Yeah, I'm here. So
Okay.
we're not doing any work that all the material comes off in the alley. There's no way to get to the sidewalk.
Okay.
JL Waters has a 12-foot facade on the front of it.
I see. Okay.
It all has to come out through the alley.
All right. Into the dumpster. Okay.
Yeah,
Would you just mind stating your name for the record, please?
sure. This is George Shermer.
Thank you. And you're with,
Steve's Roofing and Sheet Metal.
okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and it says that you've spoken with other businesses around, and since it's a pedestrian alley, I assume there's no trucks that would need to go in and do any deliveries for the other businesses.
No, I talked to CFC and also Tim Ellis just to make sure there wasn't really anything going on in that alleyway. And yeah, it's pretty low key through there. You can't get a truck through because they built that stairway kind of barrier in the center of it. So you can either come in from the east or from the west, but you can't cross.
No, it's really a pedestrian alleyway, I think now anyway, isn't it?
Yeah. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the board?
No.
Any public comment on this item?
Seeing no chat or hands raised.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I move approval of right-of-way use for dumpster placement in the east-west alley west of North College Avenue between West Kirkwood and West 6th Street from Steve's Roofing and Sheet Metal. And the dates are July 16th through August 6th.
And I second, and I'll call for a vote. Beth Hollingsworth,
Yes.
Dana Plazo, yes. Motion passes. Next up is a bonding agreement with the City of Bloomington Utilities.
This is Paul Kerber from engineering. Just some background. In November of 2020, City Council approved some changes to Title 12 of our city code that involves right-of-way use and excavations within the right-of-way. And one of these changes was to allow various government entities to agree to a bonding agreement with the city. This will exempt them from needing a bond, which is a requirement of our permits. And so this is from Utilities T&D. They're seeking approval of that agreement for 2021. This will exempt them from requiring a bond to work in the right of way. There are questions on this one?
So will they have to come to us each year to have that approved, the exemption? This just goes to 12/31.
Yes, yeah, it's just good for one
Really?
calendar year.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the board?
No. No.
Any public comment on this item?
Seeing nothing in the chat or hands raised currently.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I move approval of bonding agreement with City of Bloomington Utilities.
A second, and a call for a vote. Beth Hollingsworth,
Yes.
Dana Palazzo, yes, motion passes. Next up is a bonding agreement with Monroe County.
This is Paul Kerber with engineering. This is identical to the one previously, but this agreement is with Monroe County to exempt them from requiring bonds as long as they are the applicant for the permits.
Any questions from the board?
I see that this is just like for maintaining bridges because it'd be the county maintains, and we're going to be talking about that next, but the maintenance of bridges.
Yeah, or it could be any other project that's on the edge of the city also.
For the Monroe County Highway Department.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So this is just with the highway department. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So if any other department wants to do any kind of work, they'd still have to agree to this bonding agreement as well, right?
Correct. Yeah, yeah. It's just with the highway department.
Okay. Any public comment on this item?
I see nothing in the chat nor hands raised.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I move approval of bonding agreement with Monroe County Highway Department.
I second. And I will call for a vote. Beth Hollingsworth,
Yes.
Dana Palazzo, yes, motion passes. Next up, under new business is closures on North Rogers Street, north of West 11th for Monroe County project on Bridge 809.
This is Paul Kerber with engineering. The Monroe County Highway Department, since they maintain the bridges within the city limits also, they're requesting a full closure to do some bridge rehabilitation. And this is North Rogers Street, just north of West 11th Street. This is the bridge that goes over the Indiana Railroad. They'll have a detour route posted, and then we also have a pedestrian detour route also. The project will be completed in 30 calendar days with anticipated dates of August 2nd to September 1st, 2021. And Lisa Ridge is on this call also to answer more questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
Yeah, I'm curious about how many bridges there are. This is numbered. I guess this is numbered as one of the bridges. How many bridges do we have to be maintaining?
Are you asking within the city or?
Yeah, in the
Over.
city. In the city.
I don't know how many are within city boundaries. We maintain 154 bridges in Monroe County, which includes the city, the ones within the city.
Okay, good. And is this bridge repair just part of a maintain the bridge, or is it a critical bridge issue?
It's a maintained bridge. It needs a bridge deck overlay with some minor structural repairs. And I did want to clarify, it's actually bridge 908. It's not bridge 809.
Lisa, would you mind just stating your name?
Sorry, it's Lisa Ridge, Monroe County Highway Director.
Thank you. Okay, so it's Bridge 908. And this, I'm sorry, but I think the dates, I didn't see where the dates were again, but it was about 30 days. Is that correct? Starting in August?
So yeah, the total closure would be for the 30 days. Our goal is to begin August 2nd. Of course, that's going to depend on weather and, materials being brought in. But that is our goal, is for the August 2nd to the first week of September.
And have you notified local residents, or I know I think Uplands over there? Is that part of the process, is notifying those residents, or is
We
that
don't,
not?
we don't typically, there's really no resident within that section of roadway. We do, if it's approved by the board this evening, we will put advance notices on our website. We put it in the newspaper. We send it to every emergency services, all the school systems, for notification. And then of course, during construction, we keep those notices going until on a weekly basis.
Great. Any other questions from the board?
No.
Any public comment on this item?
Seeing no chat or hands raised currently.
All right, do we have a motion?
I move approval of closures on North Rogers Street, north of West 11th Street for Monroe County project on bridge number 908, August 2nd through September 1st. August 2nd through September 1st.
And I second. I'll call for a vote. Beth Hollingsworth,
Yes.
Dana Palazzo, yes, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And last, under new business, we have the addendum number 1 to LPA consulting contract with Etica Group for the guardrails replacement project.
This is Patrick Durgas, Engineering Department. This is a federally funded project that will replace, upgrade, and extend existing guardrail at various locations throughout the city. Etica Group is currently under contract for the preliminary engineering services. This addendum will add additional environmental services required for the guardrail in the Griffey Lake area to meet the federal requirements of the project. The addendum will add $6,745 to the existing contract total, making the new contract total $114,693. Open for any questions.
What is it, up to 30 guardrails are in this project? You can do up to 30, depending on how many you need it.
Right now, it's dependent upon funding and also right-of-way restrictions and also environmental restrictions that we've run into with a lot of these guardrails. To say it's a little disappointing that we're trying to upgrade safety on these roads, but because of the federal requirements with the money that we're using, if the right-of-way is not clear in an area, we aren't able to include it in this project. There's also some environmental concerns. So we've kind of zeroed in on the most important ones. Parks and Rec is doing a project at Griffey Lake that will replace all of the west guardrail. And so we think that this is a great use of this money to do the east guardrail in a similar time, so we can have the guardrail upgraded for the entire stretch there on the Hinkle Headley Road. So I think right now there's probably going to be about 8 locations that this project will actually be able to address.
So the added additional environmental services, what are those? What are the requirements on the?
So Griffey Lake is owned by CBU, but managed by Parks.
Okay.
And so because of that, the property is considered a 4F because it is a Parks property. And so we have to do a 4F investigation, even though Parks has said that they will give us a de minimis finding. meaning that we're not impacting the use of the park. We still have to file all the proper paperwork. And then in addition, there's a small amount of right-of-way from IU that is required. IU has a small piece of land in there. And so to be able to use that right-of-way, we will have to do additional environmental services. And just to note, there will be future right-of-way services just for that little piece of IU property that this project will need to acquire.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's a piece that's tied to the golf course that just barely touches. I mean, it runs across the road, but we just barely touch it. But yeah, we'll definitely
Not
have to.
required.
Yep.
Thanks for that update. Appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment tonight?
I see no hands raised or chat currently.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I move that we approve addendum number 1 to LPA consulting contract with the Etica Group for the guardrails replacement project. That was tough.
You got it. Okay, and I second, and I'll call for a vote. Beth Hollingsworth,
Yes.
Dana Palazzo, yes. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have staff reports and other business.
Michael Large, Public Works. Just real quick, wanted to thank all of our crews that continue to work through the construction season despite the rain and the heat. We've had some great success this season so far with the completion of Recover 4's West 6th Street project, with the ongoing bus stop improvements that continue. And then we have recently started a 4th phase of the sidewalk assistance program on the east side in the Park Ridge East neighborhood. So just give everyone kudos for everything they've done and will continue to do, and just make the public aware of the safety of our employees as they continue through these construction projects. We appreciate your patience and work to continue to improve the infrastructure overall.
Thank you.
I would just like to add something from Adam on the Lower Cascades project. Staff is working with CBU and Parks on final plans to make road repairs and get a schedule for all improvements.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Next up, we have approval of claims. Were there any questions on claims from the board?
Yeah, Michael, turn on your.
I'm here, Beth.
Okay, so this is just a question. I was interested in the Hoosier transfer landfill, and trash costs are about 4 times what recycling is. Do you have any idea what's happening? Are you seeing a less recycling going on now, or what's causing that?
So from my knowledge, with the most recent flooding, we had a lot of debris. We had a lot of just runoff trash that was collected down through Kirkwood, through the downtown core. Adam and myself were both part of that cleanup over the Father's Day weekend. I would say that approximately 4 truckloads or 80 tons of material was collected in just that one weekend event that we cleaned up ourselves. As far as an overall look at recycling, it still is very successful in the city of Bloomington. And in fact, with the current market as it is and other communities getting away from that, we still continue to have a very high recycling rate. We still have a very high participation rate, which is why we continue to subsidize the program. And we look forward to continue educating the public through the Recollect software app that we've brought on recently, and with the Routler program that we are currently onboarding through the sanitation department.
Thank you for clarifying that. I see what happened with the trash and why that's so high this time. So, but thank you for that update. Appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Any public comment on claims?
I see nothing in the chat or hands raised.
Thanks. Do we have a motion?
I move approval of claims $1,697,873.17.
And I second. I'll call for a vote. Beth Hollingsworth,
Yes.
Dana Palazzo, yes. Motion passes. And I will call for adjournment. Thank you all.